Hey y'all, it's Neek and I'm back with another tutorial. So let me introduce y'all to my new model. Her name is Tiara. I got tired of having to put on makeup all the time and model my wig, so I needed something else to do it for me. But this video is basically to show y'all how I brought her from basic factory manufactured mannequin head to Baddie. So if you want to see how I got it, then keep watching. Okay, you guys, so I pretty much did her makeup in the same order that I would do my makeup, and I always do eyebrows first, so that's how I started out with her. So with mannequin makeup, what I have learned from other YouTube videos is basically that like some of the products that you will use will be different because of course it's not skin. So for her eyebrows, I actually just bought a dark brown eyeliner, like liquid eyeliner pen. And I just got this from my hair store, whatever's cheapest, honestly. But I just use the eyeliner pen and just outline the brows, and then to fill it in I kind of just did little strokes all throughout the brows. I didn't like color it in, I more just did strokes, like a bunch of strokes close together so that it would look more realistic. And y'all will see from my face throughout the video that this took a lot of concentration. I couldn't crop my face out, so yeah, but I bite my tongue a lot when I'm like focused, so y'all will kind of see that. This, honestly, doing makeup on this mannequin head, it wasn't hard, it was just different. So yeah, bear with me, y'all. So after I finished filling in the eyebrows, I went back in and cleaned them up and evened them out. This eyebrow that I'm doing now was a little bit lower than the other one, so I kind of had to fix that and then just kind of clean up the lines and stuff. So I just used a flat tip brush and a random concealer. I can't even remember what concealer that was, but I just took some concealer and cleaned up those lines. And I will list all the products that I used down below. I honestly just used a bunch of makeup that I have that I don't use. Doing this kind of gave me the opportunity to play in products that I either haven't used yet or that I don't use often. So, yeah. So now I'm just doing any last touches on the eyebrows just to make sure I got everything before I move on to the face. Okay, so call me weird, but this was honestly my favorite part. Like, this was the part that I was waiting for. I just loved watching other videos and seeing them just like buff a bunch of foundation all over a mannequin. So I had fun with this part. But anyway, so I just used a pretty large face buffing brush, and I kind of, I guess, like swiped the product on. I didn't like buff it because it's not skin. So you don't really have to like, you're not really buffing it into the skin. You're more just like putting it on a surface. So I kind of just did like swiping motions to get it on. And by the way, the foundation that I used for her is I mixed the Beauty Bakerie Caked Up foundation and the Estee Lauder Doublewear foundation. I think it's called Doublewear. It's been so long since I've used Estee Lauder, but it's the Estee Lauder foundation. And I know the color of the Estee Lauder one was 6N2, but I can't quite remember the color of the Beauty Bakerie one, so I will leave those in the description box below. But yeah, I pretty much just mixed those two together and then applied it. And the brush that I'm using is a Morphe brush. I can't remember the exact name of it either, but it's definitely from Morphe. So this is just me showing y'all that I do go all the way around the mannequin. I get the back too. Some people don't do the back, but I just like to keep everything uniform, and I never know if I'll ever be showing the back of a hairstyle one day where you could see her back. So I just made sure to cover the whole thing. So once I finished the main base, I kind of went back to the small areas that I couldn't reach, and I went back in with a smaller brush. This is my Real Techniques buffing brush, and then I went over the eyebrows, like around the eyebrows, with that same brush that I used for the concealer, and just cleaned up there too. I wanted to make sure that I didn't like mess up and brush over the eyebrows, so I was like, let me take a small brush and be careful with it to cover small spots. So here I'm just blending out the ends of the eyebrows just to make it look more realistic and kind of more blended so that the front of the eyebrow looks natural. But yeah. Now I am going in with the concealer and contour, setting the face portion. So I'm going in with the Nars, I think this color is Hazelnut, concealer, Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer underneath her eyes. I actually was just trying to see if this color would be light enough to be her under eye concealer, or if it would blend in too much. It actually ended up blending in a little bit more than what I would have liked. So I did end up going back over it with a lighter concealer. I believe it's another Nars Radiant Creamy, and it's in a lighter color. I want to say caramel. I think it's caramel. But I'm going to blend this out, and then I'll put the second layer on top. So here I am going in with contour. This is the Juvia's Place foundation stick in the color Congo. This is what I use, so this was what she was gonna use. And I am just tapping the brush onto the stick and then swiping it on her, just because I feel like that's easier than just taking the stick directly to her head. But yeah, and then I just kind of applied that before I really blended it out. And I want to say I used the foundation brush to kind of blend that all in. Yep, that's what I did. So then I just set underneath her eyes with, I think that's Sacha Buttercup. I set underneath her eyes and pretty much the high points of her face where I put the concealer. So her forehead, down her nose, and a little bit on her chin. And then I took the Beauty Bakerie flour powder setting powder and set the rest of her face, because that powder is a brown powder. With mannequin heads, you don't have to bake because it's not skin. I ended up baking underneath her eyes while I did her eyeshadow, and it honestly was a bad idea because it just dries onto the surface and then you can't get it off. So you guys will see me fix that later. But here I am going ahead and doing the eyeshadow look. So basically I did like a bunch of browns and I kind of just deepened it and deepened it and deepened it. I sped it up a little bit more for the eyeshadow because you can't really see the color until it's like there. So that's why I kind of just have to like explain to you guys. But I mainly use the Juvia's Place Chocolates palette, and then I went in with the Jackie Aina palette as well for her lids, and I pretty much just had to build up the color until I achieved the look that I wanted. But it did take a lot of, it seems like you're not doing anything while you're doing it, but you know, once that color starts to build and you kind of start to see it coming together, then it's like, okay, this might not be too bad. So, yeah, so I'll just let you guys watch that, and then you'll see me applying the eyeliner as well. Also, for the lid, it took a lot to get the product like really on there and to really pop. I had to do like a combination of swiping ever so gently and patting the product on. If I swiped too much, then I would lift up the product, and if I patted it the wrong way, then I would lift up the product. So it was a lot of back and forth. But once it was on, it was on. So like I was saying before, the baking powder was not really coming off. So I had to kind of go back over that with the concealer that I used. And as you can see, like, I pretty much just buffed that in, and then I did go over it again, like put a little bit of setting powder on top just to dry that product down, but I brushed it off immediately. So I learned my lesson. So now I'm just going in with all my face products. This is my Maybelline Fit Me powder, and I'm just going all over her face with that to kind of set everything and blend everything together. Then I went over her contour areas with one of the dark brown colors in the Juvia's Place Chocolates palette. And then once I finished that, I went over the same contour areas with my Fenty Beauty Mocha Mami bronzer, and then I did blush, and after that was highlight. So I'll come back for the highlight because that's like a whole thing. Okay, so for the highlight, I used Jackie Aina's LaBronze highlight, and I did her inner corner tear ducts. I did her nose along the bridge of her nose and the tip of her nose, and then I did, of course, the cheekbones, high points of the face where the light hits. You know what I'm trying to say. But I was living for this part because I love the body highlight, and I had to make sure to hit all the good points, hit the clavicle, hit the neck, hit the chest. Like, I was living for this. Like, I was really trying to give her a real bronze moment. Get the shoulders too, honey, like everything. So the final part of the face was the lashes. I wanted to do that last because I knew that that would tie everything together. So I did kind of struggle with the lashes, as y'all can see. I struggle with lashes on myself anyway, so it was no surprise. But once I finally got the lashes on, I moved on to the lips. So I decided to do, well, I honestly didn't know what I had in mind when I was doing it. So I just took a brown liquid lipstick. This one is from Tarte, and I outlined the lips with that and kind of went in a little bit so that it would create an ombre look. Then I went in with a pink lipstick. This is from Kat Von D. It's kind of like a satin liquid lip. It's definitely not matte, and it's definitely not a gloss, I don't think. And on the inner side of her lips, I did another Kat Von D satin lipstick, and just kind of blended that out. So I went and cleaned up everything, made sure it was all sharp and nice and blended, and after that she was ready to go. So this is Tiara in her final form. She went from drab to fab. So I hope you guys like this, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.